Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and the topic of this discussion is just answer the question. I'm watching a debate last night with Kamala Harris and Mike Pence, and I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but from what I saw, just a bunch of song and dance from both of them. And I'm saying to myself, just answer the question. He asks you something, answer it straight out. That will then compel him to have to answer the question straight out. And he cannot do that. Had Mike Pence debated with me, I would have mopped the floor with that guy. When he asked Kamala Harris, was she planning on packing the courts if they win the election? She should have simply said yes, and then gave an explanation as to why. Because when Barack Obama was president, with 227 days before the election, Mitch McConnell held up the proceedings so that Barack could not nominate a judge. Now that Trump is president, he got to seat the judge that Barack should have seated. Then when RBG passed away, with less than 60 days left for the election, now the same Mitch McConnell is rushing this process through so Trump can get to pick another Supreme Court judge, because he knows now that Donald Trump don't stand a good chance of winning this election, and he don't want a Democrat to do it. And plus, Donald Trump said he's going to need this Supreme Court judge just in case he does not agree with the turnout of the vote. He can use her to overturn the election and keep his seat. That would have been it. Then Mike Pence would have had to respond to that. And he wasn't able to do that. He would not have been able to do that. I would have mopped the floor with this guy. Then you can turn around and then make him answer your questions directly. Ask him, in the midst of a pandemic, why haven't Donald Trump revealed his last positive and negative test results? We don't know when the last time he tested negative before he went to the hospital. And if you ask him right now, you don't even know if he's positive still or not. And today, as I'm preparing to do this video, I'm looking on the TV, and Mitch McConnell said he hadn't been to the White House in days because he see the current administration not handling the COVID-19 like it should, and he didn't think the White House was a safe place to be. But of course, Kamala didn't know this yesterday, but this just goes to show what a complete failure this president has done. Three-thirds of a year ago, this country elected a reality TV star as president of the United States. And sadly, with less than a month, I think it is, before the election, Donald Trump is still a reality TV star. He has not grown into the position. He still believes in cliffhangers and, rating. All he talk about is ratings, crowd size, and the stock market. You see his numbers constantly poll around 40%. That's because all he do is appeal to his base, and that's it. He don't try to go beyond that at all. He don't talk to nobody that does not or did not support him. this is, and then plus, during the debate, you have plexiglass, 2 sheets of plexiglass keeping the candidates apart because of his mishandling of the COVID-19. She should have made Mike Pence answer the question when the moderator asked, will Donald Trump do a peaceful transition of power if Biden is elected president? Kamala Harris should have doubled down on that and been like, Donald Trump is trying to hold on to this presidency because the New York Times reported that he has a $430-something million payment coming up that he don't want to pay. And the only way the best way to avoid paying it is to remain in office. This is why he don't want to get out of office. Make Mike Pence respond to that. He would not have been able to do that. And, it is this whole thing they keep talking about, passing laws or putting a Supreme Court judge, to remove laws and get rid of Obamacare and all that stuff. And what they're doing is getting rid of giving insurance companies the right to not treat pre-existing conditions. And let's look at that for a second. You paying into an insurance company, and if you have a sickness, illness, whatever that you had before you joined them, they can, say, well, you got a pre-existing condition and we don't have to treat that, but we'll treat everything else but that. That's kind of like being at the zoo. You can walk through the zoo and walk around all types of dangerous animals, lions, and let's say you could even feed a lion through the fence, and that lion will take the food from you. But don't get it twisted. The only reason why this lion is not lunging at you is because there's a barrier between you and he. Don't get it twisted. Whatever little treats that you're giving him, he would much prefer to eat you than that. The only thing that's stopping him from doing that is that barrier that's between you. Here you are paying into an insurance company. And the only thing that's stopping them from not treating your pre-existing conditions is the barrier that the laws have put in place. But as soon as these laws are taken down, they got you. You walk into a zoo and you see these wild animals walking around, no barriers, you better turn yourself right back around. The only way we can exist in this world comfortably if we put up our own barriers, which means our own businesses and institutions to safeguard our way of life, so that no matter what the law says, we have businesses and institutions that will adhere to our laws. We can create our own insurance companies, our own hospitals that just focus on getting people well, getting people healthy, as opposed to all these other provisions that the establishment, it's ridiculous. Just treat the sickness and get it over with. But don't get it twisted. This is not a endorsement of Joe Biden. he's not much better than Donald Trump. Voting for Biden over Trump is like if you're drowning in 10 feet of water and somebody pull you up 5 feet. I mean, really, what good is that doing you? You still gonna drown. Biden talking all this, what he want to do for black people. I want to give black people generational wealth and raise them to their full potential. Well, you have 500 years to do that. You spent 300 of them enslaving our people. You spent another 100 Jim Crowing us. In the last 50 or 60, mass incarcerating us. Now all of a sudden, you want to raise us to our full potential? I don't buy it. But let's say we hold him to this. We vote Biden in office. And then, how do we hold him to it? We say, this is what you do. Give us ownership and control over our essential needs. Because we all know generational wealth does not come attached to being employed by somebody else. Generational wealth comes through ownership and control and self-determination. You can't determine anything. You can't own or control anything as long as you're working for somebody else. If we gain ownership over our essential needs, food, education, health, financing our own, establishing businesses and industries to service our needs, that would be a core that we can create thousands and thousands, if not millions of jobs. There's 47 million blacks in this country. Do you know how many hospitals and grocery stores and that we would need to service every last one of our people? And then once we get the core of our essential needs under lock and key, then we could start, not then, but as we're getting our core established, we can also start dallying into our non-essential needs, our entertainment, movies, stuff like that, clothing, all this stuff, everything. You think Biden is going to do that? He's talking about, taking tax dollars with Joe Biden, talking about taking tax dollars and using them to spend in the country to give us jobs. Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you use the tax dollars to help the taxpayers? As opposed to taking our tax dollars, which was what everything the government they do with tax dollars. And they take our tax dollars and they give them to millionaires and billionaires to put football, baseball, hockey, basketball arenas. And then in return, the millionaires and billionaires, they get no tax burden. And they promise to give the people of the city jobs so that they can pay the taxes. This should be stopped. If you don't pay taxes, you should have no connection to the government. The government first priority should be to anyone who support their existence, which is the taxpayers. So instead of giving the money to millionaires and billionaires, use the money, combine it with the people's money, and then build baseball stadiums and ownership of teams, football, like I say, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, anything that generate revenue. Then whatever tax burden that the the residents have, use the revenue that come off of these sports establishments to subsidize them, which would eliminate a large bulk of it. When you think about how much money the TV contracts are, you got multiple TV contracts, streaming, and when you're not using the facilities for baseball or football or whatever, you're using them for concerts, circuses, monster truck events. All this revenue can go to lighten the burden of the taxpayer. And we will still have the jobs and businesses inside of these establishments. You don't need to give your money to the millionaires and billionaires. You know, but like I said, do you think Joe Biden is going to do that for us? No. But we can do this for us if we come together as a people and elect our people into office. We can put pressure not only on the establishment, but on our own people so that we can provide these things for us and create the generational wealth we need and deserve. Because, see, this system is broken. It actually works in reverse. This system has more debt than it do wealth. And the government, attack the taxpayers, but then snuggle up to the people who don't pay taxes. And the branches of the government, when you look at the IRS, the IRS is the world's largest collection agency and the scariest. They will garnish a check, your bank account, take your home, your business, all while you pay their salary. Does this make any sense? We are actually paying these people to do this to us. All these entities should be used to help the citizens economically and empower them so that we won't be in debt. We shouldn't fear institutions that we supplement. It's time for us to break away from these fools. I mean, if you don't know that by now, I don't know, and I say this all the time. If we don't know this by now, I don't know when we're going to know it. But let me conclude with this. Of all the people on this planet, we were the Cadillacs of them all. Others, they may have been Lincolns or 300s or whatever, but they weren't Cadillacs. Our name was synonymous with everything that was good. If you got, like I said, if you got a car, and it may have been nice, but you know what? It's not a Cadillac. You get insurance. They got all the bells and whistles. No or low down payment or deductible. Fully paid hospitalization. You had the Cadillac of insurance. That's what we were. Until we let a race of Yugos come into our community and take everything from us. They built division in place and has kept us apart. And now look at us. We have all the color, but none of the substance. It's time we get leadership that knows this and understands this, and leaders determined to get us back to where we were. I consider myself one of them leaders. And I want to get our people back to where we were. And I'm going to end this video here. And if you like this message, please share it. And with this message, with this video and all my videos, it is to motivate my people to completely liberate themselves from their oppressors. And I will see you in my next video. Ashe.